What's the weirdest/scariest thing you've ever seen when at somebody else's house? Well, I was about 10 years old and after school I went back to a friend's apartment, to play some games and do some sort of school project or homework. It was a while ago and I don't remember exactly. His mom made some snacks for us, and we were playing something, when his dad got home. He started shouting really bad words towards the mother and started to beat the crap out of her for forgetting to put his lunch into his work bag. This was for like 6 to 7 minutes, the mom had blood on her face, crying and stuff. Then he stopped, came to us with a smile on his face, kissed his son and simply went to take a shower and do stuff around the house. I asked my friend what happened, and he said that's something normal for them, but usually the mother fights back and sometimes she even won. The mom was like 10 centimeters taller than the father and quite a big lady. Told my parents about it and I was not allowed to go back there, and if I wanted to hang out with my friend, we would do it at my place. The sad thing is the next day my friend asked me why was I scared, because that's how every family solves its problems, and he was shocked when I told him my mom would get mad at my dad even when he used a bad word around me and my brother, and I never saw my parents fight or even lay a finger on each other. He did not believe me and called me a liar. We remained friends for a few more years, until he started hanging with some super shady people. Now he is in jail for armed robbery, I think, or something like that. The weirdest was when I was visiting an old high school friend a few years ago. She had married this big a-hole and had 2 kids back to back. When you walked into their trailer it looked like they had this enormous flat-screen TV that almost took up the whole living room wall. But when you walked down the hallway past the little girl's room, the back of the TV was sticking out into the girl's bedroom. It was one of those old obsolete TVs. They had cut a hole in the wall to make it look like a flat screen. There was only enough room for both of their baby beds on either side of the back of the TV. I'll never forget that. Who does that? My wife and I were touring a home we were considering buying. Old, vacant a while, fixer-upper, but lots of potential. Couldn't get around a smell that followed through the house. Got upstairs and the smell was worse. Opened up a bedroom door and there were strategically placed human turd piles all over the floor filling the room. Driest and oldest in the far corner. Relatively fresh closer to the door. We did not buy the house. My mom used to be a mental health advocate. Basically, she would take people with severe mental illnesses to and from doctor's appointments, court dates, bail them out when they got arrested, etc. Well, one of her clients would poop in his windowsill and let it dry, then smoke it like crack. He said it gave him the strength he needed to fight the demons at night. He was the same one who would climb on top of his 3-story apartment building during thunderstorms, to stop the moon and sun from fighting. Because the angels told him that was his job. He was never a danger to anyone else and was actually very nice. Just severely schizophrenic. I'll go with weirdest. Now my experiences in life might be slightly different than your average person. I worked for a plumbing company in Baldwin Park, California for a while, and during that time probably visited 250 homes roughly. So I've definitely been in more houses than not. We ran a special ad saying, "We'll clear any drain for $79.99, so naturally we were very busy. Okay, bear with me here, there will be a TLDR at the bottom. So, we're in the van and the tablet dings, that means we have a new service request. We get the address. It's down by the beach in Laguna Niguel. At this point I'm already rolling my eyes in the passenger seat because that's on the far end of our operating zone. It's only a drain call, so no commission really, and rich people are notoriously hard to work for in my industry. We pull into the gated community and drive up to the house. This house is nice. I feel like calling it a house is a disservice. This is a mansion. I mean, white Doric columns on each side of the door, lawn manicured perfectly, they even had a effing fountain. Okay. We knock on the front door and for about 4 minutes no one answered. Doesn't seem like a long time, but to be knocking on a door that's right where people shrug and say, "Guess no one's home." Well, as we were about to walk back, a very short, very old man unlatches the door and greets us. At this point everything seems okay. He's very old. Maybe 80 to 85, but still walking unassisted. He's wearing country club kinda stuff. White polo, white shorts and loafers and nice jewelry. But with snow white hair and liver spots and a general oldness to him. Anyway, so we head on in. There's marble floors, big fake plants, a small bronze bust of someone I don't recognize, all kinds of nice things in the foyer. But it seems like a white room that's never actually lived in and only used for company, which I'm guessing they never had. Again, everything seems normal here. Once we walk further into the home, I start noticing the smell. Anyone reading this that's worked in a restaurant, the smell was similar to the drains in the dish pit area. Food and moisture and wet floor smell that's been sitting for a while. We got to the kitchen where the drain problem was. Dude! The drain and the sink had backed up in their home. Because of that they had stopped doing dishes for a while, which was what the man said. No, these people stopped doing dishes 90 days ago at least. The two sink basins were stacked with dirty plates. The counters on either side were stacked with dirty plates. Their cabinets were empty because they had used all available dishes, and after those were all gone then they used Tupperware containers. Once those were all gone, they bought paper plates and were stuffing those into a garbage bag by the door. There were ants everywhere. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. There were so many ants everywhere I thought the counters were a different color than they were. Truly a staggering number of ants. Swarming this huge stack of rotten food and plates and trash. The counters looked alive. Like a fuzzy countertop that moved. I mean, to think these people were living in this house is beyond me. They had ants all over the floor, crawling in the windows above the sink and even in the carpet in the living room. Me and my boss look at each other in disbelief. We spoke to them and respectfully declined and had them follow up with the owner of the company. Basically, the guy was very wealthy early on in life. Bought the house and married. His wife was about 10 to 15 years his junior, but she was completely senile. The entire time we were in the kitchen she was by the glass doors and sat at the breakfast table staring into space. The man himself was probably on the edge of dementia, since speaking to him was difficult because he would get off topic and completely forget what we were speaking about. Even though we're holding plumbing equipment both wearing Reuter shirts. It was a very sad situation realizing that even though they retired with all this money it does them no good. They were in serious need of a caretaker or live-in nurse. They could obviously afford it, but I'm not sure why that wasn't happening. But anyways, I've never been so taken back walking into someone's home like that. It felt like a horror movie. TLDR. Went to rich people's mansion for plumbing job. Mansion was infested and swarming with bugs. They photoshopped themselves into pictures of them on vacation like boats and stuff and put them in picture frames. The biggest one was them photoshopped into a photo with Obama that they ironed onto the wall. It was probably 5 by 5 feet. I was about 10 and staying with a friend. We were completely asleep when her mom and dad came in and woke us up and calmly said we were all going outside now. It was summer, so it wasn't too cold or anything. We all went outside, her 3 older teenage siblings and her parents and the 2 of us, but it was the middle of the night, so it was extremely strange. Then the bomb squad showed up. Turns out, there was a grenade with the pin still in it from World War II in their garage. My friend's dad would stay up super late cleaning and organizing his late father's belongings when he came across it one night. My parents ended up coming to pick me up a short time later and the bomb squad took the grenade, I believe. I'm an EMT. From time to time we go out with the fire department or PD for wellness checks. On one such call we arrived at a home of an elderly man whose family had sent heard from him in a week. Knock on the door, peek through the windows, don't see anything because the windows are covered. The family tells us where to find the spare key, so we open the door and are greeted with the most horrid smell ever. Instantly everyone knows he's dead and has been cooking for a bit in here. We move in and see this is a hoarder house. Just like the shows, there are piles of garbage, junk and God knows what else in that house. There were rats the size of small cats scampering around us as we looked for the guy. One of the firefighters found him wedged between the bed and wall covered in junk. His toes had been gnawed on by the rats. As the firefighter was clearing the stuff off the body, his eye suddenly pops open and he grabs the firefighter by the hand, scaring the absolute piss out of all of us. We rushed him to the hospital where he died a few weeks later. From what a nurse told us, he fell while getting out of bed and broke his hip. While trying to get himself up he got buried under a pile of junk until we found him. So, I'm 13, at a new school, and walking home after school. A kid I didn't know kinda joins me and says after a few minutes, "Hey, here's my home, wanna come in?" Yeah, okay. The house was the biggest mess I've ever seen. I guess 3 or 4 adults and 4 or 5 kids lived there and they never cleaned up. There was trash everywhere, paper bags, Fast food containers, soda cups and bottles. My new friend asked if I wanted a glass of water and we went into the kitchen. His older sister was there and sweeping a pile of trash out the open back door into the backyard, which had trash and junk everywhere, junk washing machines, car parts, refrigerators. The kitchen counters were stacked 2 feet deep in dirty dishes and pots and pans. The kid grabbed a dirty glass and filled it with water. I drank it and didn't die. In a corner of the kitchen was a 50-pound bag of dry dog food, open. Oh nice, you have a dog, huh? New friend grins and says, oh no we don't have a dog. I thought about that for a minute and told him I'd better go home now, see you later. After that I took a different way home after school. Well this will probably be burled. But one time a girl I knew said she had a skeleton in her closet. I laughed being drunk and figured she was talking figuratively and about to tell me a story. Nope, she took me to her closet and sure enough there was a skeleton hanging in it, staring back at me. Real skeletons look like real damn skeletons, not the stuff you see in classrooms. Discolored bones and weight to the thing. So, her grandfather was a doctor and I gather if you donate your body to science there is not a lot of paperwork. So, you can end up as a joke ornament. Now I admire her for the dedication towards the joke. However, the thought of sleeping in a room with a dead person in your closet still freaks me out. A decorative bowl on the table next to the couch absolutely filled with fingernail and toenail clippings. We know it's you Yoshikage Kira, you can't run forever. I was looking for this Lamau.